Good morning, everybody, and welcome to my world with Nat, Relocation Concierge, here in the Dominican Republic on the North Coast. I'm here with Steve from Dreaming DR. Welcome to the episode.
Thank you.
We are in the beautiful Casa Linda. It was so fun to come back. You know, I get greeted by the guards, and they're like, "Hola, señora," like I still live here, which is really heartwarming. You know, they come in, and you feel, and I think that's part of the building relationships, though.
Yes.
When you come to a new country. So I'm jumping right in. Building relationships is important when you come to a new country.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We came here with knowing only one person, and it was a real estate agent. So we kind of had to.
You're one up on me. We knew nobody.
Nobody. So
Nobody.
We had to figure it out all ourselves, and it was a bit of a challenge.
So take me back. It's been how many years now?
Total of, this is the 8th year.
8th year. But you weren't on board right away.
No. I came kicking and screaming. Like everyone else that I know of that came here in the beginning, we watched a lot of HGTV.
Yes, HGTV.
So we're watching everyone coming and buying a property, and at the end of the show, everyone's happy. They're moving in, they're living here, they've got family, they've got everything, and I thought we were just watching TV.
Yeah.
In reality, I guess we were planning to move. So I remember sitting in our hot tub and having a discussion with my wife and her sister-in-law about how we're getting ready to leave, and I was drinking a glass of wine, and oh yeah, that sounds good, and but I had no idea we were actually
going to do it.
Right.
But you guys did it, and for the most part, I met one woman who said, if you're going to do this, make sure your husband or wife is on board, because if one is not on board, makes things a little bit trickier when you decide to change countries. You guys did 2 phases.
Yeah, I guess that depends on who your wife is. So when we decided to go, we actually came down and looked. My wife got on the internet, found a real estate agent, actually tried to contact several. One got back to her. He gave us a couple of ideas. And then I came down, I thought we'd look. So we came down and we looked, and we found, and we put a deposit down.
Okay.
So a little bit quick, but we have a business back in Canada that we run. So I thought, okay, well, I'm not really ready to go. I'm a planner. My wife's a doer. Yeah. Right? It normally works really well, because when I'm sitting there calculating on whether we should do something, we've typically already done it. So I'm just figuring out what, the back end is, not the front end. So
I'm laughing because my husband's the researcher and I'm the doer. I'm more like, yeah, let's do this. In my head, our house was sold within a week of deciding to do this. So I get it.
Oh, our house wasn't sold.
Yeah.
So we run a business that was hands-on, face-on.
Yeah.
My wife was the face of that company. So I said, when we finally went ahead and did it, I said, okay, 6 months, I'll have the company running online, and I'll be able to come down. It took 3 years of doing a lot of hard work and changing things around to get things to actually run the way it needed to run. And even then, there's still somebody there who runs day to day. But I finally got here, and the house was already built. My daughter was going to school for the 3 years already. Yeah. And I just kind of moved right in. So
I would say, I feel like there's kind of 2 or 3 phases that you went through to make the final move that you were all here together.
Yeah, so you again had to sell my house and move furniture and all of the things that need to get done, which we had no idea how to go about doing. I've heard lots of, oh, you should do this, or you can do that, and you can do this, but that doesn't necessarily mean you can or you can't. It
makes me think of that analogy when you have a child and everybody has advice for you. Everyone has something good to say. And I find when I'm helping clients down here, that's typically what's happening is people will show up and say, 10 people have told me 10 different things. And I think, okay, well, let's sit down and discuss the 10 things, and let's sort of weed out what makes sense. And everybody's intention is good. That I will say. Everybody's intention is good, but they're biased a little bit. They know what they know. They know what they've experienced, and that is not the same for everybody.
Right. And I mean, it depends on where the advice is coming from too. When I was in Canada and I was talking to people about coming here, or my wife had already come, it was like, well, you're moving to a third world country where
Yes.
people carry machetes and you know, it's dangerous and you have to watch out for this, that, and there's corrupt this and
Because there's no corruption in.
yeah, exactly.
Not to get in any hot water, right?
No,
But let's be honest.
We'll be apolitical for now.
Yes.
But what I found down here was, and so there's two types of advice. I got the North American, already living in North America advice about, oh, don't do it, it's scary, it's the worst thing you could possibly do, you're gonna die, yada yada. And then as I met people down here, they were more like, oh yeah, that wasn't that difficult. This isn't that bad. Oh, that's a first world problem you're having. Like my internet turned off today for 20 minutes. Oh my God, like if back in Canada I would be, you know, on the phone to my provider, you know, freaking out because I can't get on the internet. And here you kind of become a little more chill, right?
You do, absolutely.
And once you get used to it, life is really, really calm and
There's a simplicity.
Yeah. I don't have the same types of problems that I have in Canada with giant traffic jams and, you know, all of the other running. I didn't realize how much movement I was doing every day, how busy I was. Now, not to say we're not busy here because we've got a huge boom, which is kind of delayed by a year and a half from what's been happening in North America. So we're really just getting into the thick of it now of real estate. Everybody's buying. It's hard to find rentals because people have bought up all the rentals. So, you know, we're running just as much as we were before.
To accommodate the people that want to come down. So I guess that's a great segue is what are some of the things that people should be looking for when they are looking for a purchase or a rental, I guess? Like what it, you know, if you pick one. Oh, I guess, you know, my segue will be, the question would be, do you recommend renting before you come? I think this is a good question for you guys for clients.
I would say right up until 4 months ago, I would say absolutely come, rent, check it out. Since about 4 months, we've had people who are buying sight unseen, and we see some positive sight unseen, and we see some negative.
Yeah.
There's no golden rule. You need to be able to trust the people who you're buying through.
Yeah.
So, you know, and everybody's website looks great. You know, every video of every property looks spectacular.
Yes.
But when you come down and you actually see it, you know,
it might not be
exactly what you thought. So, you know, trusting the person who you're dealing with, and then when you do come, is having someone there who's going to make sure you get into your rental, you get to the grocery store, you know, and those are the things we had to figure out on our own. Again, it's not the end of the world. The grocery store is just down the road.
Yeah.
But you probably, for your first time of doing just about everything, including bank accounts and all the rest, it helps to have somebody who's done it before you. You know.
Yeah, it makes me, when we first arrived, we actually stayed in Castellina for 1 week, and the taxi driver took my husband to the store, and he came back with a bag of stuff. That's what I say. And like giant carrots. And I'm like, what do you want me to do with this? And he's like, I don't know, it just looked familiar. Like he grabbed things that he knew, but he didn't look at anything. Like, how much does this cost? I don't know, I just paid for it. It was the funny, like I tell the story now, we laugh, but I don't want a client to do that. Like I want people to come down and feel sort of secure and like, let's go to the store and let's try and figure this out and look at the pricing and break it down, because it's one less thing to worry about.
Even getting your stuff here. Like,
yes.
We've never shipped anything here.
Oh, really?
No. Because I was going back and forth
okay, yeah.
so much, I would take 2 suitcases, 3 suitcases, depending on which airline I went with, and we kind of did it that way, which is really the hard way to do it.
Yeah.
And now that there's a lot of influx of Canadians here, I've heard of multiple different ways to ship your stuff down, which I know nothing about, other than I know they were very successful and very happy doing it. So I would suggest people get in touch with someone who's done that before as well, because life becomes much easier.
Absolutely, the barrel system. We tried it last year just for the experience, because I wanted to be able to say to clients, we did it and this was our experience. It was seamless. I mean, everything went in, they dropped the barrel off, you put your stuff in, they pick it up, and 5 weeks later it showed up at my door. Like I didn't have to go pick it up, they brought it to the door. So it is a really efficient way of doing that, and I think that moving forward more and more people are going to be doing that. So tell me, what are the things that you love about being here now that you've gone through all your phases. You're not kicking and screaming anymore.
So the number one thing is the people.
Yeah.
Like I now know a lot of people from the Dominican Republic because I live in a closed compound where there's guards and there's all kinds of people who look after different things. I got to know everybody, and once they got to know you and they felt like you were friendly.
Yeah.
Very, very, very nice.
Definitely.
I can call people if I need something. I can call people if I want to have lunch. There's also a huge expat community here.
There is, yeah.
Now, I love playing hockey, which of course I tell everyone I play hockey in the Dominican Republic just as a conversation starter, but I play ball hockey.
Yes.
And there's 40 Canadians at peak season that play in the league.
Weekly.
Yeah, then we play twice a week. That's the one thing that I would have not had. I'm not a great baseball player, so I'm not going to be able to compete with the Dominicans. They're all incredible baseball players. But the ball hockey league gets me, I'm introduced to 40 new people who all introduce you to 2 more. And now I go to the beach or I go downtown, either Cabarete or Sosua, and I run into people I know.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not alone.
An organic network.
Yeah, it's very small town feeling. Good and bad. Everyone is in a small town knows what you're doing, and everyone in the small town knows you. So
yes, exactly.
So it's.
And what are some of the the things that when you first got here, sort of you thought, really? Like that's my really? Is this happening right now? Really?
I think everybody's number one is watching the traffic.
It is fascinating.
The motos and the wheelies and the 3 or 5 or 9 people on a single moto, and but after a while, now I don't even notice it. We have friends come down, they point out, oh my God, look, there's 3 people on that moto. It's like, yeah, that's normal.
Normal, absolutely.
And you have to get used to the driving. It's a little more aggressive, and you actually have to be aggressive in order to drive. Follow the rules, but don't stop in the middle of the road and wait for things to happen. You need to do it. The loud, it can be quiet like this, or you can be on the street and nobody has a muffler, right?
Yeah, this morning we were waiting for my daughter to get picked up, and there was a few motos that went by where I was speaking with the dad, and we just stopped talking, and we waited for them all to go by, and then we continued on our conversation, and we sort of chuckled, looked at each other and chuckled, because it was like, yeah, this is what it is, but this is what being here is, and I think that you have to adapt.
Yeah.
You have to be where you are, because if we asked them to come to Canada or they came to, they would have to adapt, right?
So a good point about adapting is you and I were talking this earlier. You asked me, do I speak Spanish?
Oh yes.
And I shouldn't say it, but I don't. I've been here this long, and I just started taking lessons about 3 months ago because I didn't have to. I could easily operate all day long doing whatever I needed to do in Spanish, and I'm not even a Google translator, so I don't get on and translate, and very little other than the lady who works here at our house, because I need her to know exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I just started taking Spanish, and I'm not going to say any, but it's coming along.
Coming along.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I think there's for us, I speak French, so there's a lot of similarities, and I feel like when I translate, sometimes I'll see the French or the Spanish, and I'll think, oh, that I would have said that in French. It's the same. It's structured the same way. I'm picking up it quicker, and I find after maybe a mojito, my Spanish gets way better. I can say all the things, and I can string a bunch of words together, but yes, it does. It takes a little bit of time. I think that the basics are important. The hola, cómo está, the politeness, things can work as well. But you're absolutely right that you can function here in English.
And we went from North Coast, so up here, to Punta Cana. Spent a lot of time in Punta Cana.
Yeah.
And we had no problem going back and forth. We go to Santiago, and it's not difficult there either. It's a little more Spanish. But there's still lots of people who speak English. Plenty of educated people here.
Yeah.
And they speak English, French, Spanish. It's actually easy to get around no matter where you go.
Absolutely. Anybody who's watching this now, I know your wife, you work in real estate, rentals, property management. If anybody is looking for some tips, what are your top 3 things before you decide to relocate, maybe people should consider?
So what should you consider? You have to, somehow you have to find a way to, if you're retiring, it's quite easy. So I'll tell you what the general transition from up where we are down here. People come here and they want a gated community. I need to be in a gated community because I need to be safe.
Okay.
Right? You come, you buy in a gated community, and you're going to pay a little extra on your fees because you have to pay for the security. You're paying for someone to distribute all your services.
Yeah.
Once you're here a year or so, you're more, I can save a lot of money by building a house or buying a place that's in this community that doesn't have all security because I don't need exactly what I bought here. Now that doesn't mean you go running up to the mountains,
the hills,
and live on your own up there and not expect someone to be in the area, right? And if you're going to be here 12 months of the year, much better because your house is occupied. If you leave, someone could like your TV and come in and enjoy it for you. For a long period of time.
Yes.
But the longer you're here, the more comfortable you can be. And I'd like to say, don't worry about the gated community, but I think everybody has to go through that little transition to feel like they are in a safe spot and they pick their own little safe spot where they think they are. Renting, again, you probably, even if you're building, you're going to end up renting.
Yeah.
And I'd want to be here when somebody built my house because I'd want to see exactly what was going on.
I couldn't preach that one any louder.
And it is a little different than buying in North America. So there's lots of different, I could give you a whole bunch of buzzwords, Dislinda and Confiture and yada, 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 all the other government programs. But you do need to find out about them, right?
Yeah.
Because there are advantages to buying in different projects as compared to buying in another one.
Yeah.
Right? And those things are determined by the developer who's gone ahead and gotten those structures in place, and then the government grants them, no tax for 15 years.
Yeah.
That's one of them. The Dislinda and the, getting your title is also different. Like titles are physical pieces of paper that you have to protect and you make sure that you get it transferred over, and you need someone who knows what they're doing.
Yes.
Right? I've heard, you only ever hear the negative stories. Oh, I bought and this problem happened and, don't ever go there because you did this. But then you find out that they came down on their own, they found the first person that they ran into, or a taxi driver gave them a card and, my brother can get you that cheaper. And then they went off and then had a bunch of problems.
So do your research.
Do your research.
Gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big one. And we did a lot of research before we came, and we probably still didn't do enough. Based on what we experienced, and it wasn't that it was good or bad, it just, I think had we had a Natalie go see where we ended up, I'm not sure we would have rented there. And that's just our experience, but having somebody, a team member be able to scout that out for somebody, I think is important because it's like that one less thing to worry about.
Yeah, and no matter how much reason, like analysis paralysis is probably my middle name.
Okay.
Right, so having someone who's willing to pull the trigger and actually do it, but someone who's looking at all of the stuff. Nothing is perfect.
No.
It's not perfect where I came from, and there might be a tree that I don't like, or we have a date tree out front that drips some dates. You got to sweep them up, but I wouldn't know that unless I lived here.
Yeah.
Right, so there are the normal things that you're going to find out, and you can't pick your neighbors. Right?
You cannot.
Today's neighbors are today, but they could sell tomorrow and you get a new neighbor. I have the best neighbors in the North Coast, so I'm really happy.
Yeah.
But
every experience is unique. There's no doubt about that. So do your research. Really, that's what it boils down to.
Yeah, and find someone you trust to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. Any last minute tips? You give some great stuff.
I don't know.
I'll let you off the hook.
Yeah, I don't know if I know anything else that, other than I've experienced it and it didn't turn out good,
and it goes without saying, I mentioned it, but you are part of Dreaming DR, which is real estate property management rental company. So if you are looking for that, make sure we will drop the information into the description. If you are looking to relocate and you're not sure where to start, give me a call, book a call in the Calendly link in the description. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Stay tuned for the next episode, and make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel so you get notified for the next one. Whatever you choose to do today, have an incredible day, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Steve. Hey, I hope you really enjoyed that conversation I had with Steve. I really had a blast. But when we hit stop, he realized that he had a bunch of questions he wanted to ask me. So we just kept recording, and this is what we got. So keep watching.
Natalie, a couple of questions. You've asked me lots. I've got a couple for you.
Go ahead.
What brought you here?
Yeah.
And tell me what you actually do, because a lot of real estate companies kind of say they do what you do.
Yeah.
But I'd really like to know, the depth that you go as compared to most others, because we try to do what you do. We're also selling houses and finding rentals.
Yeah.
So sometimes, a dedicated person handling that is a better way to go about it.
Yes.
So what do you do first?
I'll start. What do I do first? So when we arrived here, I guess it will all it comes together. But when we decided to come down here, it was really in that spirit of adventure. We've always wanted to live in the South. We too watch HGTV all the time. And so Sue was featured in Christmas of 2020, and we thought, maybe this is like the universe giving us a message. My husband had lost his job. Why aren't we doing this? So there was no reason not to. And within 3 months, January 1st to April 1st, we had done everything. We had sold our house, packed our things, sold our things, bought airline tickets, and flew out April 1st of 2021. When I arrived here, and I still am, I'm a speaking coach. I help people with presentations. I created a program called Teen Talk, so I do speaking for teens, which is something I'm very passionate about. It's like where I find my joy. And within a few months, I was helping people who were coming down here, just organically. The networking queen that I was in Canada, I was just doing it here. Can you help me? Can you tell me? And then somebody said, why aren't you just doing this as a business? I'm like, push off. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Took me a couple weeks to think about it, and then I thought, okay, maybe. And by the fall of last year is really when I kind of took the bull by the horns and said, yeah, okay, I'm going to do this. And that's when I launched Welcome to My World with Nat, my YouTube channel, interviewing people. And the depth of what I do is really a culmination of all the careers I've had over the last 30 years, and I'm bringing them all together. So tourism, hospitality, customer service, and the last one being the most important. And I know what it's like to travel. I know what it's like to be taken care of. And we moved here, and like you, nobody really helped us. We sort of dropped off, was taken to a store. My husband, like I said, did the groceries, and it was like, let me just grab what looks familiar and like hope for the best. And we are very resourceful, so we figured it out. But when you're coming here, and let's say you're a family of 4, you have 2 young children, now you're packing your house, that's a lot of stuff to think about. So I really help you from A to Z. And there's a couple of different packages, but really at the end of the day, I help you figure out what it is that you need to do at home, what you need to pack, what you need to ship, what is going to be important for you, because everybody's story is unique. Everybody's experience will be unique. And then help you through the travel process, and then help you when you arrive. So yeah, do the groceries for when you arrive, take you around, show you the places, be the person that will have your best interests at heart. And my goal really is to save you time, money, energy, and a lot of tears. I don't guarantee there'll be no tears. I'm just saying that there'll be less tears because we want to avoid some things. So I'm your advocate. When you come down, I'm your advocate. I am unbiased. I'm looking out for what's best for you and your family.
So is your clientele from any specific area?
I would say North America is the bigger one right now. I've had a few calls, like inquiries from Europe, but I'd say North America are the people that are calling me the most, and they are looking for change right now. They're looking for a new reality. There are things going on in our countries that they don't agree with, and they want to change. They want something different for themselves, and that I can totally relate to, because that's what we have created down here is change for us and for our daughter. And it's not always easy, as you know.
Yeah.
And there are days that are hard. And I think what I've created and what I've brought to light for real estate agents and real estate companies is real estate agents have a niche market, right? Or a niche job to do. And we all have a zone of genius. I'm not a real estate agent. I know real estate, I understand it, but it's not where my my zone of genius is. My zone of genius is taking the client by the hand and making them feel safe and secure, and showing them and doing all the things with them. So I feel like that's how I complement a real estate company, is like, let's be like stick in our lanes but get to the same destination.
My favorite saying, stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane. And it's not to say that there's no overlap and there's no dotted line, and that there can be, but a client, and you know, I was an event planner for a few years in a company in Montreal, and at first I thought it was very bizarre because there would be salespeople which would sell the event, and then they would pass on the event to us, the coordinators, which we coordinated all the details, and then the day of the event it would go up to the event planners on the floor. So there was like this 3-step process, and I remember thinking, this is ridiculous, like, these are my clients, like I'm gonna take care of them. But eventually I realized, like, the planning piece that's where I was good at that. And on the floor, well, those guys, that was what they handled all the staff, they handled the AV, they handled all the particularities of the day itself, the execution of it. So we worked really in tandem, and that's the idea, working in tandem with real estate agents and companies to show that, you know, let's take care of your people.
Yeah, and I can see that because we sell a place, people move down, and then, you know, there's a lot of back-end work to make sure that they're getting all the things, their services, they're coordinated with getting their whatever they're shipping down, and all of that, and we're doing it, right? But we could be doing other things if we knew our clients were handled by someone who was competent doing it. Because a lot of people do get other people here to do it. They really don't know what they're doing either, right? They're hoping for the best, and it doesn't always work out so good, because we've heard lots of great stories. We've heard lots of ones, you know, I wish I'd met you guys before. I hear that all the time. I wish we'd met you before, because we wouldn't have done this, and
Where were you 6 months ago when I got here? I'm like, I was here.
Yeah.
You didn't answer my call.
Yeah, and we get that too.
And I never want to make anybody feel bad. You have to do, your reality is yours. So I'm here and I'm available. So, you know, I had a story this weekend, and you know, the person has reached out a few times, and I said, yeah, when we start working together, we can move in the process, because at the end of the day, this is a service-based business that I get paid to do. So you can expect it for free all the time. I do a 30-minute call, see where you're at in the process, where we can line up together, see if it's a good fit, and beyond that, that's where the service starts. So, you know, she ended up renting in Encuentro, but she's a retired person, and I'm thinking, how are you gonna get around?
Yeah.
Who's gonna, you know, what is that gonna look like for you? I think I would have probably maybe given her more options where she would have had accessibility to things without needing a car right away. Or Encuentro's beautiful, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's particular to a set of people.
But again, this is where having someone who's feet on the street, who knows, you know, there is a public transit system.
There is.
Most North Americans aren't going to take it.
No.
But I do know some that do, and they actually enjoy it, and it's inexpensive, and they're okay with that. But not everybody.
Not everybody is. We've been here, this is our 14th month. I've never taken a guagua.
I've been here 8 years, and I've never taken a guagua.
So, and I'm not snooty.
Guagua is a bus, just so everyone knows.
Yeah, it's a little bus. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, so it's really about looking out for your best interests, and that's really, you know, I take joy in that too, because I see the smiles on my clients' faces, and I know that I've done good.
So I've got one other question.
Okay.
Your close friends or your circle from Canada, where you came from, what's their take on you being here, and have any of them moved down?
None have moved down. For the most part, we got very encouraging, like, you go girl. Yeah, for the most part. I'd say family were a little like, oh, right? Because it also meant we were taking granddaughter away, niece, and we were very close family. So that created a bit of I think a difficult, it was hard. Luckily, technology now is so much better than back in the day when I traveled, 20 years ago, where we just had phone cards and you had to go to a calling station, and, you know, now I can FaceTime my mom and dad every day if I want to. They can, if our daughter goes to Taekwondo, I take a video of what she's doing, her progress, and I send them the video. So everybody's abreast of what's going on here. Nobody has moved down. We've had few people visit, and I think that's just because of the current worldly situation, as I call it.
True, you came in the middle of that.
I came in the middle of it. We came at a time where for us it was, things were mandated, things were recommended, so we didn't see the problem. I had one friend say to me, "Why don't you wait?" And I was like, "Wait for what? What am I waiting for?" Wait for her to finish school. We didn't have a house anymore. We had to move out. So there was no point of waiting. And like I said earlier in an earlier conversation, I'm a doer. I'm like, yeah, we're going to do this. When I left for cruise ships 20 years ago, I got the job on a Friday, and 10 days later, I packed my apartment, moved it back to Quebec, and was on a plane to Vancouver. There's no waiting.
So it's funny, you said something earlier. You said there was no reason to stay. So for us, it was the exact opposite. There was every reason to stay, and only one reason to go was just to go.
Yeah.
Right? And I've missed a few opportunities. I'll give quick, brief history. I once got a job in Australia back in 1991 through a company I worked with. They had a branch there. I went through all the paperwork, everything. I got a visa. I was ready to go, and I balked, and I didn't go. And I regretted it for the last 30 years. So when Christine decided, okay, we're going, this is it. It was like, I didn't put up a big fight. It was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Like, I was upset about, how do we do it? It's not in place. But I wasn't upset about doing something, because if you don't do it, then you'll regret it forever, is what I felt. And we've had several people come down. Most people thought we were, I don't know if it's politically correct, but crazy. To come here.
I'm sure some people did think that, they just didn't tell us.
I'm sure most of our friends thought it, and they have been down, some of them, to see what it's like, and to see, are you guys still, you got all your marbles, and now there's family that comes for 6 months of the year, some that are coming longer. My son has been here for a while.
Because essentially, and I think that's what people forget, right? Yes, we're in paradise. Yes, there's palm trees outside my door, but we're still living life. We're still doing life. It's just that we're not doing it in Canada. We're doing it here.
And I think that would have been different. Like, we spent 6 months in Punta Cana. It's not the same. It's the
vibe is different.
Very, very different. It's much more transient. Here it's much more, like I said, small towny.
Yeah.
So when people come here and see that, they like it, but they still think we're not all there.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I can't even imagine. Like, right now, the thought of even living, it doesn't even.
No, me either anymore.
I can't even fathom that, because we just enjoy it so much. Not just for the weather, the obvious things, the weather, being near the ocean, our daughter playing outside at school every day, living these incredible experiences. We just enjoy it. We just enjoy it.
Yeah, us too. Even on a bad day, it's still not a bad day to look out at the pool and go for a dip.
Absolutely right.
Even though I don't do it enough, but
cool.
It's good.
Excellent.
It was okay. It was great. Great talking to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.